Hello, everybody. Sorry about that. For anybody that's on replay, unfortunately, we had technical difficulties. I'm waiting for our guests to come back in. For some reason, I didn't set it up correctly on YouTube, which I thought I had done. But we'll let it go out here. It should start posting here in just a minute. There we go. Some are showing in. I'm just going to bring you in. I'm not even going to try.
Just don't worry. It's okay. Take a breath. Take a breath. It's okay.
Now I almost have to. I don't have a choice because there ain't nobody in here now. So.
Okay.
I'm just doing a connection. Give me just a second here.
Okay. No rush.
Okay, there we go. Now I can hear. Hi. I can see.
Yay. Oh, look at this. I keep driving the wrong side. Hi. Renee just texted me and asked me, "Is the live happening?" I'm like, "Yes, it'll be here shortly."
It's coming.
Yes, it's coming.
I'm just saying.
So everybody that's inside of the live chat, I do. Anybody that's in the live chat, just bear with us a second. I'm trying to get my other two guests. I'm trying to get my other two guests in, and then we'll go ahead and start. We are live, so just so you two know, I didn't wait because I made everybody wait. So
let me get that going.
And there's I'm just bringing you in. I'm not even gonna wait. There's I'm just bringing.
Hi.
All right, I'll just go through a quick who's in here right now, and then as people come in, I'll just try to catch them where I can. Henderson Farm, Ladies Farm, Sheila Wixon, SUCC Nasty YT, Mouse Toes, Tanya Shepherd, that's my sister, hello. Lavender for Luck, Blackberry Rock Homestead. Looks like Kettle Kitchen's in here too for some reason. I jumped really bad. I'm just waiting on Sherry to come in. She should be coming in shortly here.
What am I doing?
My Renaissance Grandma, Lavender for Luck. Okay, so I got to do this a different way, so bear with me on this part.
Hey, Mouse, doesn't
and I now fully understand. Yes, I was going to say I fully understand any technical difficulties I've witnessed on other lives, what they feel like right at this moment.
Yeah, and we all know it happens. Don't sweat it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna. Lavender for Luck is a moderator who I typically see over at Sherry's channel over on Black's Tropical Homestead, and she's agreed to come in and help us with moderating tonight. But I'm trying to locate I can't even find my own live chat. Isn't that wonderful?
Just breathe.
Sharpen your wrench, Lavender. I have my own troll squad. I'm just saying.
Ooh, good to know.
We were screwed.
That is funny. Okay. Looks like I've entered into the correct chat now.
Oh, good, Leanne.
Yes, you do, but you're also a guest, so I wanted you to spend more time guesting than wrenching, okay?
Okay.
Okay, it looks like I got her set up now. So you should have a wrench now, Lavender for Luck. And there's Sherry there. Sorry about that, Sherry.
No problem.
All righty. So if I missed anybody, I apologize. I'm going to try to play catch up so we can get into what we're here for.
Now
I'm
on
not
with
going to
the
spend
show.
a lot of time. Thank you. That mic thing is kind of creepy, though, actually, but that's okay. I want to give. Here's what I'm going to do. Let me settle down. I'm going to hold off on going through comments right now. I'm going to have each of the channels go through, tell who they are, just real quick, a little bit about their channel, and then we'll come back. All right. So I'm just going to go in order of who's on my screen. So Glenda, would you please go first?
Well, hi, I'm Glenda, and I am an urban homesteader. I'm also a full-time caregiver for someone with combat wounded warrior injuries. I began urban homesteading 11 years ago. I'm into canning, pressure canning included. So I do that. And then I also I just started with freeze drying. So that's a new adventure for me as well. I'm gardening and having fun. And I'm also a crazy chicken mom. So that's just a little bit about me. Simple as that.
Leanne.
Well, I'm Leanne from Midnight Farmhouse, and I do canning and I'm going to forget my spiel already. I do cooking from scratch, baking, canning, and dehydrating videos. And if you find value in this video, you better smash that like button.
Smash the like button now, anyhow.
Yeah, do it just because it feels good, guys. Do you want to tell a little about... Now, let me back off. Let me go down to Sherry and let her do hers, and then we'll come over to Mouse Toes and go on.
God help you all.
I should say, what's up, soil brothers and soil sisters? I am Sherry from Black's Tropical Homestead. We are tropical fruit growers in a subtropical area. However, we raise chicken, quail, and rabbit as a source of meat. So we got a lot going on, but yeah, we are homesteaders.
Yes, and if you haven't seen it yet, you need to check out her latest video drop of the meat birds they took care of the other day. So that's interesting. Mouse Toes, your turn.
Well, I had no idea this is how you people rolled, but I will say this. I'm 65 and I'm angry and I'm hot. Okay. Okay. So
okay.
I have a garden. I have a husband named Vern. I ain't got no chickens. I ain't fixing to get no chicken. Okay. But
you
I
fish.
buy chicken poo. Yes, I fish in my backyard. Okay. If you get in my way in a canning aisle, I will roll you over. Okay. You know why? Because I'm old and I'm angry.
It.
I didn't get this old being a punk. Okay. So I can stuff. I put it in jars, right? My husband has a girlfriend in the meat department because it's hard to get meat and people got to do what they got to do to get meat to put in a jar because we ain't got no chicken. Okay. So my platform is just get out of my way. It's not world peace. It's not soil for everyone. It's get out of my way. That's my damn platform. And Kettle invited me, and I'm thinking about now.
Mouse Toes, I love you. I love your attitude. I love everything about you. I want to hang with you.
Oh God.
Oh, you my kind of people.
Okay. So, Glenda, and to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, Glenda and Sherry both have never met Mouse Toes other than tonight, correct?
What?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Y'all
I
blame
specifically put in there just from my own visual knowledge. I actually never had a face-to-face conversation with Mouse Toes. We've done it on the phone a couple times. We've done it on email, and she's always, one of the things I like about her is she tries to make everybody inclusive. If you're part of the group, you're part of the group. And that really stood strong with me in my heart. I also know for fact the woman follows the book. There's a reason behind what we do, why we do what we do, and
she's not afraid
experience
to throw it at
and
you
knowledge.
if you don't want to read it.
I wanted to have here, and she isn't, and so that's Mouse Toes. So now everybody that doesn't know Mouse Toes, that's Mouse Toes. I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to all of you guys for being here. I very much specifically want to thank Mouse Toes because she didn't have to. I know she's got a busy schedule, so I appreciate her being here. I know Sherry and Bobby are constantly busy doing their thing, And I appreciate you being here, Leanne. You're a farmer's wife. You're busy all the time. And Glenda, you are as well. I know you are involved. And I thank you guys for taking this time. Primarily what I wanted this to be was a chat about canning. And from our perspective, and at least I think from conversation or visual knowledge watching videos, all of us theoretically have an idea of what canning should be, what that includes and what doesn't include. Now, just for the panel that may not know it, Sherry and Bobby are transitioning into canning this year. And so
Yes.
Sherry and Bobby's channel is going to be along with, and you'll have to fill me in on the specifics of who else is doing it, Sherry, because I don't want to mess that up. But in the month of June, they're specifically going over canning information, canning guests, things like that. Time to Grow, I believe, is the other channel that's doing that as well.
Time to Grow.
And so I thought it was perfect for her to come on. So if she directly has questions for what's upcoming for her, she can ask them. I know she has a following that is interested in moving into canning that hasn't. Some have. She's got all kinds of levels as far as that goes. I would assume the other two ladies as well have that. You have different people that might be interested or are learning, wanting to learn, and just aren't quite sure where to go. So this, I really wanted to be a wide open entry into Sherry's month of June so that we all can give everybody the sense that we're on the same page. That's ultimately what I'm after. So I would also go ahead and throw out that, Leanne, you have your cards.
Which ones?
I don't care which one, just one in general. If I'm going to ask everybody to go ahead and put, I'm going to ask everybody to put a question into the live chat. If I miss a question, will you please raise that card so I at least can trigger that somebody's asking a question? Or if you guys don't mind interrupting me, which I don't mind, please do it that way as well. Okay. So I'm going to do this a little backwards now. So we went Glenda, Leanne, Sherry, Mouse. Mouse Toes. I'm going to start from Mouse Toes and come back the other way. What is one thing you would want to tell somebody who's interested in canning but hasn't made that move yet or might be afraid to?
What the hell is wrong with you? Because it is wonderful if you can grow it, but if you cannot store it, then in a shelf stable, not dependent on your freezer or your refrigerators. So if you can grow your carrots and your potatoes and you're harvesting, what do you call it? You kill your chickens, okay? And then you can them in a jar. If you're counting on your freezer, I live in a hurricane zone. So we've gone up to 10 days with no power. Now, we knew when we built a house here, so we got less of the luxury things like countertops we wanted so we could get full solar and battery backup. So my freezers will continue to run. It's just 2 refrigerator freezers and a chest freezer. But my septic has to be pushed to my leach field. And I have a well and my house is raised 9 feet. So we could not count on not putting stuff in jars. We're just 2 adults, but I got a whole lot of food stored. So if you're going to harvest it, you want to be able to preserve it. That's just the bottom line, because you have to eat food within 3 days of your freezers going out. Remember, everybody has a big block party and we're all bringing our ribs and our ground beef from our freezer. Well, after that, they're not good anymore. So to me, to have something shelf stable, right? That I keep this as a prop. People always ask, how long will my canned goods last? Till this darn lid comes off. And this is tomato sauce from 2015. You can't tell from the light in this room with the sunshine. This is still as red and vibrant as when I grew it in 2015 and my husband and I canned it, because it stays in a dark pantry. It hasn't lost any of its color. It hasn't lost any of its nutrition. And if that lid stays on, this is good to eat. So to me, it's just having a backup to dehydrated, to growing it, to putting it in your freezer, baking it. And when you are tired and in a hurricane, my solar is not going to power my air conditioner. It could, but it's going to suck my batteries down in 2 hours. They're done. So everything in your house gets hotter. Who the hell wants to put a roast in a crock pot? Because it's hot. So having these things ready to eat is where it's at for me. So, and canning is very, very safe. The new canners, they're not what they were in our mother's day. Back in the day, my dad canned on a charcoal grill, okay? Because if something happened, it was out there and it was safer. Plus, New Orleans, Louisiana, if anybody doesn't know, is the entry to hell as far as heat. It's like 105 is their temperature without humidity. So it is not scary to can. The science is done for you. It's in all these books. You just follow the steps. You ain't got to understand how that darn canner works. Just do what the hell it says. When it tells you to vent for 10 minutes, they didn't say 5. They didn't say 8. They didn't say, oh, do it 15. Do it 10 minutes. Follow the very easy steps. If you do not put botulism in this jar, there will not be botulism in this jar. You'd have to make an effort to make yourself sick. You really would. Sorry, I'm done. Small rant.
No. I
feel
agree
better.
with it, and I want to take it one step further, if you don't mind, in that conversation on you specifically, Mouse Toes. You had made a comment, and I think it was on Lisa Sutton's Days canning chat one time, that it also has a lot to do with, if you guys get sick, you're so far away from medical help that you actually, that is the consideration you have in mind as well. Correct?
Yes, our nearest hospital is an hour and 15 minutes down a 2-lane road. Deer. We've had snow and ice storms here. They're freakish, but other than that, it's just going in the dark. My husband's old also. But however, I just turned 65 and I no longer have to wear the band that says, do not helivac me. Take me in a helicopter. That's a $28,000 trip. It just said, let me die. But now I have Medicare, so they can just haul me up in the bird and rush me to the hospital in Charleston. Okay.
There you go.
But that is our biggest fear, is say we're going to go open and make chicken salad with purple grapes or something. And I poisoned my husband just because I was foolish and did not can this pint for the recommended amount of time. So I don't let anything disturb me when I'm canning. I have no fear of any jar of food in my pantry. And you know how your friends or teachers and people give them canned food? I tell them don't eat it. Give it to me, sit literally. I'll dump it and I'll keep the jar, or, clean it. You can give them back to them. I will not eat other people's canned food. I would eat Leanne's. I would eat any of yours, because I'm assuming, being in here and you're all holding up the books, you're safe canners. I will not eat Rebel Canner's food, and I will not eat anybody's green beans, because there are still people who can green beans in a water bath canner and add a little vinegar to it. That's insane. The most high, the easiest botulism thing is right there in green beans. So you just have to be safe. You're not inflation proof in your pantry if you're rebel canning food in your pantry. And imagine, you eat bad tuna at a restaurant, you can become paralyzed, brain damaged. You'll wish you had died. Imagine doing it to yourself or your husband or your nephew or your sister. I couldn't live with that. I really couldn't.
And I think it's important for people to understand that this, okay, first and foremost, I believe none of us sitting here in this chat room are intending to scare anybody, but it is the conscious effort you need to make so that you don't fall into any one of those situations she just described. Because the last thing you're going to want to do is take a chance and then find out it's your husband, your brother, your mother, your sister, your daughter, whatever you want to call it, that you got sick because you didn't take the time to do it the right way. Okay. All right. So I do have, I know one question I had Star, and I think it was Time to Grow it asked the question. Let me get back up. Here it is.
It was actually Broke Farmer.
I'm going to go ahead. No, not on this question. It's not.
Oh, sorry.
But I will actually, now that Leanne mentioned it, I'll come back to mouse toast since you're the one that said it. Brooke Farmer had asked, I can't find it because it's farther down. How do you put botulism in a jar?
Oh,
So,
I
would
just
you
typed
mind
it
explaining what you were meaning behind that?
Yeah, think about it. Potatoes, I will not can potatoes with the skin on. I am not offended if you do, but I'm just not that good a little potato cleaner, right? Green beans, one of the highest risks for botulism. You know how dirty your green beans are? We do 2 stages of cleaning, right? So we, got a little basket out there on legs, rinse it off. We're on a well, it's an RO system, we rinse it. Then I bring it inside to my sink. I fill up my very clean sink. I'm on a septic tank, so I can't use bleach, right, to clean it, but I know how to sterilize the sink without it. Then I put all those green beans in it, a little splash of vinegar, move them all around, then through a colander. You only will get bacteria or botulism if you put it in there. Is your pokey Joe dirty? That you debubble with? Do you start out with a clean countertop when you're canning? Is your colander clean that you threw them in, or did you just rinse it off the last time you used it? So I start off with a real sanitary area that can include a towel, right, that you lay the things on. And I can tell you that even my grandson knows if he comes and I am drying my funnel, my Pokey Joe, and the magic wand, brother will not touch it. Okay, because that is like a holy thing that goes into a holy vessel of the canning jar. You don't just walk around my house and pick something off the counter, you know what I mean, and spread you some peanut butter and jelly with it. That's my Pokey Joe. That's my debubbler. So I think also your hands, really washing your hands, like we learned how to do. We can't say the C19 word, but we can say the hindsight of 2020. Really washing your hands, scrubbing under your nails, right? Really washing your hands. And try not to, like, when you go to pick up your clean jar, particular for water bathing, to stick your damn fingers in it and then move the jar over. Can you not grab the side or slide it? You know what I mean? So just making a conscious effort, because you do have to sanitize your jars for your water bath. Pressure canning, it gets hot enough in the pressure. I mean, they go through my dishwasher, right? So when I store them upside down, empty with the ring on, not the lid. So that jar, that'll happen naturally in the pressure canning. So just make an effort to be very sanitary.
And I think that's a valid point. I think that from what I've noticed and watched for new canners, it's just those details. It's making sure you do it, making sure you're sanitary, making sure you have everything lined up, ready to go. And whatever you do, please do not read through a recipe one line at a time. Go over to the counter, come back, read the next line, go to the counter, read the next line, because you need to follow the process and be ready to go.
Yes.
Sorry, I got cars going around everywhere. So yes, Leanne, I see the card moving.
Capone's Cabin has a question about, I don't know if it's a question, but she's saying about how she thought the botulism can be destroyed by putting it in the pressure canner in order to kill the spores.
It can.
Okay, now I'm going to throw out.
Process it the right amount of time.
Go ahead. Sorry.
What if you don't process it the right amount of time? What if the green beans say you process them for 20 minutes, but you do 10? What if you only did 11? What if you did 15?
Yeah. I think just from my knowledge, anybody correct me if I'm incorrect, looking at the question, thinking of my knowledge, to answer her question, I think she is correct. It does get destroyed when it's at that temperature, at the processing times, following the complete cool down and all that, letting them sit for their 12 to 24 hours. All of that is part of the whole process.
Yes.
It's not just one step at a time. So if you are doing that, then yes, her question would be correct.
Yes.
To my point. Okay. So I do want to go back up to, because Time to Grow way back in the beginning of the conversation asked, and I think I'm gonna do this. So I had Mouse Toes go ahead and give her little what advice what you would give new canners? I'm going to come back to each of you though, but I want to try to answer the questions as we go to try to catch up with the chat. So she wanted to know what types of foods are safe for water bath canning. Leanne, can you answer that question?
Low acid foods.
Can you be a
Right.
little more specific for those that would not know that?
Like fruits, like peaches and pears and plums and anything pickled and jams, which are basically made from fruits. And yeah, pretty much what you water bath can, and pickles and tomatoes. But tomatoes were like iffy. Some people love pressure canning tomatoes just because heirloom tomatoes usually have a high acidity. But now that breeders kept making new tomatoes because people don't like acid in their tomatoes, they're not as safe as they used to be. So now you have to put the lemon juice in the jar in order to be safe.
Yes.
So most of the time I pressure can my tomatoes if they're crushed tomatoes. But if it's tomatoes or like tomato sauce or pizza sauce, I just make sure I put that lemon juice in and make sure it's bottled lemon juice and not from your tree or freshly squeezed.
For the pH.
Mm-hmm.
And let me ask you this, Leanne, do you count on your memory or do you go to one of your books?
Oh, I look at the book every recipe.
So if you look in that, it will say, go to page 386. This item must be pressure canned. You don't have to count on your memory. Oh, do I water bath or pressure can? It's in the dang book. Prepare your pressure canner or prepare your water bath canner. It ain't hard. I call it knuckle dragging. I want to see what I do. And then I do.
Yeah. Even after all the years that I've been canning, I still look at that recipe no matter what. Just ask Tony. I was pressure canning today. I was like, Tony, was it this and this? And he's like, I'll look it up. I'm like, all right. I was like, all right. And I was right. But I don't, I'm getting older. I'm not going to just, and we all make mistakes. And one mistake, let me think. What did we just say about steps and following them? And if we don't follow the right procedures, I'm not risking that for me or any of my family members or just anybody that might eat my food. I'm not taking that risk.
So Sherry, you've heard a couple of things come out now. Do you have any questions at this point that you'd like to ask or you're kind of lost on or anything like that?
No, I'm not lost at all, but I do have a million questions. But
why don't you go ahead and ask away? Why don't you ask a question and we'll see if we can answer it?
Okay, so my very first question would be, as a newbie and being so afraid of pressure canning, of course, mostly afraid of what I could do to my loved ones if I don't can correctly. What do I do to start? So say if I don't have hundreds of dollars, just go out here and blow. Where do I start with pressure canning?
Linda, you want to answer? I'll come back to you, Mel Stowe.
This was my first canner right here. I have it from 11 years ago. That's my first one. Now I have this one.
I have that one.
And then I have the electric water bath canner. That's an electric water bath, not a pressure. That's a water bath. And then now I have moved up to the pressure canner. Okay.
You got the Cadillac.
I got the Cadillac. I got that several years ago. But I would say, Sherry, if I were in your shoes, and this is how I started, I would start small. Okay. I wouldn't get overwhelmed. I would go ahead and get just a simple canner and find something that you want to try. For me, it was jelly. I wanted to learn how to make jelly. And so I made it. I went to a U-Pick farm. I didn't grow the strawberries on my property. I didn't grow the raspberries, didn't grow none of that on my property. I actually went and did it. I bought it. And I came home and I was living with my mother because my husband had gotten out of the service and we were homeless. So this was actually the first, I did this at my mother's house. Okay. And that's how I learned, is I just did it slowly. And then I moved into salsas is how I moved into. And then I moved into spaghetti sauce. And then I just kept adding and just kept adding and kept adding. um, with you not having a whole lot of money, I would start small. But if I had the money and I could go back, I would buy, now hear me out, I would buy a pressure canner. The only reason why is because you can use a pressure canner to water bath can as well. It's versatile. But I also really like having the variety and the different things. I really like, my favorite new water bath is this electric one because I can put it on my counter and leave my stove opened up and I can do my cooking on my stove. So that's what I would recommend. But just start small. Don't get overwhelmed. Take a nice breath and just read your recipe first. Make sure you understand your recipe. Read it a couple of times. Go back and read it as you're doing it. And then that way you fully understand it.
So
Yes.
I purchased the Eva canner.
Yes.
What else do I need to purchase with the canner? What is my list?
A utensil set.
She's got props. I love it.
She came prepared.
I came
Oh.
prepared.
Yeah.
I came prepared. I'm going to open this up because this is actually a replacement for me because my other one is like 10 years old.
So you
or
just need to
11
go to
years
my Amazon storefront, and I have a canning section, and you just buy everything there.
Okay, I'll send my husband that link.
old. Okay, so let me open this up. I'll pull it away from the microphone so it doesn't. So inside of this box is a funnel. Okay. So that helps whenever you're pouring your stuff inside of your cans or your jars, sorry. And then this, what do we call this? I'm sorry. I just call it my little tool. What
Funnel.
exactly?
Doohickey.
Okay.
A funnel.
Really, really tiny. You do not lose this. This is going to be your BFF. Okay. Do not lose this.
And just for clarification, what do you call that, Linda? Sticky Joe, I think it is.
Pokey Joe.
Pokey Joe.
Pokey
That's
Joe.
it. Not only is it good to get the air bubbles out, but on there, it's really hard to see with my light, but there are measurements. It goes from 1/4 inch all the way to 1/2 inch. So that way, when your recipe says how far down in the jar your food needs to be, you just stick this like on the jar and it measures. So you can see like where your food, like you just tap it to where your food is at. So like I have been canning for 11 years and I'm still like, I don't eyeball it. I know that the book says to like where the little rings are at. That's how far it is. No, this is my favorite thing. Anybody loses this?
Can I throw something in there real quick? Glenda, you make a very valid point about verifying your headspace. I think for new canners to give you an eyeball area, it might be good to learn the threads, but I do think every jar you need to verify it's the right headspace.
11 years later, I'm still using this thing. I do not eyeball. I use this. And then this is your tool. Sorry, there's plastic. You do not have plastic on there. We'll take that off. Anyhow, that is your jar grabber. And that just goes down in. And sorry, I have a Diet Pepsi. We're going to use that as so there you go. You'll want that to get it in and out of your canner. And also another thing that you'll want, and it doesn't matter, you can use towels, like a really nice bath towel. You can go and get a dish mat, but you want a canning mat.
I have friends that make those. Yeah.
Alicia at Country Mama Musings made this one for me. I have a couple of them, but you'll want one. I have my dedicated ones that I use, and then you just leave it on your counter. Like when your jars come out, leave them on your counter for 24 hours. Don't touch them. Leave them alone. But those are my canning mats. Nobody messes with those. So that's some things that you need. And of course, wait a minute. I'm not going to get up, but you'll need some lids and bands. You'll also need, of course, your books. Okay. And if you get a pressure canner, it should come with your book. Always read your pressure canner book. And then some jars. So that's what I came with prepared.
I see
So
her book.
I wanted, I like that. I wanted to, and I'm sorry I left, but I wanted to show people that are in chat as well as Sherry what I'm talking about when I said that. And I'm not trying to confuse it, but it is a tool that helps, at least from my point of view. So you see on this jar, right? There's a rim right there. But if you turn this, and you should always turn it that way, and I'll tell you why. Those are intended to be quarter-inch headspace, half-inch headspace, 1-inch headspace. If you take this, sorry, I hate this, trying to figure out the camera angle.
Yeah.
If you take this, theoretically, it should line up to those measurements. Okay? I have found some jars are different, some are exact. So I do agree with Glenda. That's good for an eyeball, but I think you need to do this, especially a new canner, to verify you're doing your headspace correctly. Anybody have anything to add to that?
Headspace is part of your safe canning. So if it says give 1 inch of headspace, but you choose to do 1.5 inches or a quarter inch, that you cannot ensure that what you just canned in that jar is safe. And just what Kettle was saying. So your lower band is your 1 inch, but the best is the increment measure at the other end of the Pokey Joe she showed you. But your headspace is part of safe canning. They don't just make up 1 inch of headspace. And since 2019, canning chicken, we used to do 1 inch of headspace canning raw chicken. Now it's 1.25 inches. So now I changed to 1.25 inches. And I think it's like Leanne said, and someone in the side chat, food has changed some, since back in the day. And the fact that you have the book is the key. Say that you wanted to can apples, you go straight to your little apple section and it tells you core your apples, peel your apples, cut your apples into 2-inch chunks. So you don't have to think, what size do I make the apples or the carrots? That very book you held up tells you exactly what to do on how to do it.
Yep.
I think it was for
So
apples.
just to reiterate, I mean, and I know, Sherry, you and I have had this conversation, and I'm sure you've had the conversation with some of your subscribers as well. There is a validity, and I'm not trying to open a can of worms. So, guess if you just go with what I say, unless you disagree, we'll just move on. I'm not here to fight or battle somebody if they want a rebel can. That's their choice, but I will not choose to do it. Specifically, just in the 45 minutes we've been here, all those things are very specific. The testing processes that the recipes are approved by are because they follow every one of those steps. If you I don't want to, I'm choosing my words here. If you change the recipe, you've then changed the testing result. And people have to realize that, because I don't think they do. That's my honest opinion. But that's the difference for me in what most would call rebel canning, and the difference of that and following the guidelines. To me, I do not agree with the statement that I follow the rules except when, because then you're not following the rules. I mean, that's just the plain and simple. Okay. I'm not here to battle with anybody about that. Does anybody disagree with that? That's on the panel, just for clarification.
No.
Okay. Yeah, and I know, but go ahead, Glenda. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to add another thing. I didn't get this book until Tony sent this to me. I won it, right? But the USDA, I was using online. You can actually get recipes from the USDA from their home preserving online, and all of that information is constantly being updated. I just literally got this, but I've been using the USDA for 11 years. So don't feel like you have to have the book. You can actually go to the website, to the USDA's website, this one, and download. and get all of the information on how to properly can and how to set things up beautifully and do it by the book on the website. And you can also get some of their recipes too. So I just want to make sure that I plug that as well.
And it's a good point. I'm not trying to interrupt you there. Sorry, I thought you were done. Lavender for Luck is throwing the links down to these. I think the book is in one of the links she already had. So
Okay.
if anybody has any questions afterwards, just email or whatever one of us, or comment down below, and we'll try to get those links to you if you didn't catch them.
And same for this one. It's online.
Sorry.
The ball is online as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go with Leanne and Linda and Glenda on this one. My understanding is kind of our standard in the community is don't use a book that's more than 10 years old.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Did you get a chance to answer everything you wanted to, Linda? Because I know you had a comment to say earlier, and then I didn't get a chance to come back to you.
That's all right. And this is an example of a book that's 10 years older. All right. And this has a wonderful section in it on how to prepare your canner. But it's this one that told us in 2019 that the headspace for chicken changed. So even though I still use this as a reference, I'm going to go to a newer book in case, and they also, it's not just chicken. And I think one of you said you raise rabbits. It's chicken and rabbit is 1 1/4 inch headspace when previously it was 1 inch. So, and there's nothing to be afraid of. And one of the most important things is when you go to dig something out of your jar, and I always pick on Lisa of Sutton Stays, she'll stick a metal utility knife in this. Don't do that. You can etch the inside of your jar with it. You know what I mean? And you don't want to compromise your holy vessel here for food. But it is so easy to do. And since you have this book, just looking at apples, peel it, what side, it will walk you through step by step and even tell you then prepare your canner. If you're going to make syrups, it walks you through it. You don't have to come up with your own recipe. And you got nothing to fear if you process it the correct amount of time with the correct headspace.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Yep. Using the proper canner.
Yes.
I just wanted to throw that in there. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I have another question.
Okay.
So,
I don't see. Hold on just a second, Sherry. Am I missing any questions? Because I haven't seen any more.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
So I have a pickling question.
Sorry. Who is that? That misplaced country girl. Okay, I'm going to star that. We'll come back to that right after Sherry's question.
Mm-hmm.
So is there a certain canner for a certain stove, or I can buy any kind of canner? I mean, say I wanted the canner that Glenda Grace and Fire used, the last one, I guess the pressure canner, because she can water bath can in that too. So I can just buy that canner for any stove, and it'll be perfect.
What kind of stove do you have? Flat top?
I was going to say that as well. Yeah.
That's all American she had. What's your stove, hon?
It's a flat top.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's only 2 flat tops you cannot can on. Okay. And they're actually listed in the manual for that stove. But in general, people can pressure can on it. I would not want the 2-layer All-American or the 2-layer Presto personally to put on top of a flat stove, because I can't afford a new stove. But there's only 2 makers, and I don't know who they are, that say you cannot can on those. So you can look inside your oven, your stove, and then Google it.
And it's best just to call your manufacturer and say, do you recommend pressure canning, water bath canning on your stovetop?
Yes.
So I actually have the flat top, and when I go to put that canner on my flat top, I'm just really delicate. And then I'm just real gentle. Like I baby it. And then I don't move it whenever, like when I turn that off, when I'm done pressure canning, I do not move my pressure canner. You just leave it there and you let the whole stove and everything cool down with it. I've not had any problems with cracking it. I'm not going to say which manufacturer I have with my stove, but I've had this pressure canner for 5 years. And I've had my stove a lot longer than that. So I've not had any problems with mine. But yeah, definitely look into what stove you have to make sure it's compatible. But I never would do a double stacker with it.
And I think I may have actually already told Sherry this, but I'd like to share it to other people that are listening. When I called first off, I called Presto. Presto said, obviously, you have to call your manufacturer because we're not sure if it's able to do that or not, which I later then called them back. But anyways, I got a hold of the manufacturer. Manufacturer said they don't mind actually the Presto pressure canner being used on the stove. What they were more worried about was the water bath canner. And it never even crossed my mind that would be the issue. And what that all came down to is they recommend less than 50 pounds on the stove glass top at one time altogether. So don't put a water bath canner on there and a stock pot and another pot back here and another one back there and stack them too high, because eventually you're either going to wear it out or it's going to be that one time. Again, it's kind of like with the canning thing, whether you do it the right way or not the right way. One time is all it takes and you have a broke stove. One time is all it takes and you can have a sick person. It's really about following the guidelines, the manufacturer's recommendations on whatever it is, and making sure you're doing it that way, because you don't want it to be that one time. So, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go back to this question, which was from Misplaced Country Girl, and she had a pickling question, which she then come down here and listed what it was. I just got to find it.
Says, what all can I pickle?
Yep.
Besides cucumber, any tips on in that regard?
Leanne?
Well, you got your watermelon rind, you got your cauliflower, and 3-bean salad. You can pickle red onions and garlic and red wine vinegar. That's pretty good until, it degrades, but you got to eat that fast. What else? I have so much stuff that I pickle. There is lots of things you can pickle. You just have to find a recipe in the ball book and follow those directions. There are lots of things you can pickle.
Did you say watermelon rind?
Mm-hmm.
Like the green part?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
It's like Jolly Rancher candy.
Is it really the green part? I always thought it was the flesh above
it's the
green
rind.
part.
It is the
really.
Yes. And obviously Mouse Toes is eating it too.
Yes, that's good. And talk about use the whole thing.
Look at Glenda. Glenda's like
pickled plums. There you go. There's a pickled plums. I'm just looking at the book. I'm just going to reference that.
I really think what the honest answer to that, and it's not to side off the question, Misplaced Country Girl. I think getting a book from a trusted location that follows guidelines, their recipes are done, you're going to find tons of recipes out there, which I really would like to. And Mouse Toes, this is kind of one of those things I really wanted you to answer, if you don't mind. Okay. Anybody else, I will come and get you guys as well.
What book is
There's
that?
Oh, sorry.
This is the new one.
I've got your.
Yep.
And it's
This
a whole
has pickled pineapple in it.
Yep. Sherry has the same one as
a book about
Mouse Toes does. Sorry.
Because my husband was wondering how or if he could pickle bananas. But
he has gone a bridge too far on that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But bless his heart, you can make him banana nut bread.
You can just send the bananas to me. I'll just visit this for you.
I freeze
Did
dried
you
banana
just
slices.
say pickle bananas?
Oh, Tom Vern says that's what it's all about. Cornflowers.
Don't tell Vern we can hear him.
Yeah.
But that was perfect timing.
Good luck,
So-
Vern.
so-
That's what it's all about.
Yep, we were trying to figure out today, can we pickle with bananas? I don't know about that.
Oh wow.
I think bananas is so discouraging. Do y'all remember back in the day, what was it called? It was similar to apple butter, but they did it with bananas. And you
Yes,
can
I've
actually
seen
do it,
that.
but you have to put it in your refrigerator after you do it because it's a density issue where the heat cannot permeate through something super thick, like mashed or pureed bananas or butternut squash, that sort of thing. So they called it monkey butter, just like apple butter, because it was bananas. And the mascot used to be a little monkey, remember, and the little girl with her pants, with her bananas in her pockets. And so you can actually make monkey butter, and process it, but then you have to put it in your refrigerator and eat it within, you're supposed to eat it within 7 to 10 days because like apples, they'll start to discolor.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So
Sherry, look, I was
Go
say,
ahead,
Sherry, look in the back of
Glenda.
your book. Just look in the back of your book for the banana recipes and see what you can do.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm going to move away from chat questions for a second because I haven't gotten everybody the opportunity to do this. I do have a question, Mouse Toes, and I'll come back to that after we do this. Your hint for new canners we got. Sherry, I'm assuming you want to move on and let somebody else answer that question, or do you have a tip for new canners that you can think of?
Oh, it's a difference. He said, can, not pickle. Oh,
No, we still can't do that.
Mm-mm.
No,
like what?
no.
They said,
No. Nope. Too done.
I love your husband. I don't even know him.
Just so you know, Linda, that's Bobby, her other half,
Okay.
kind
Bob.
of stealthily hiding in the background.
No,
And
he
they're
was
happily
outside
married in 2
somewhere.
years.
Oh.
Running in the house. I was like, Jason.
So I just want to know, Sherry, do you have, from what you've learned so far or what you do know, would you happen to have a tip or hint you would want to give new canners?
Definitely learn from somebody that will teach you from the book. I say ask questions because no question is a dumb question.
That's right.
The silly part is not asking the question, but definitely learn. Don't take, oh, it's easy, or you can just do this, because my biggest fear is to harm myself or my loved ones. So I decided to come to the people who use a book, and just because they use a book doesn't mean they don't know what they're doing. That just means that they are very cautious and they care about what they're doing. So take canon very serious. Do not just assume you can do this and you can do that, and possibly ruin your life, and somebody else's. So definitely take the time to find out the right
want to do it for safety.
Leanne? Sorry, I had a motorbike go by.
My biggest tip is a day you're going to can is going to take more than 2 or 3 hours. Put a slow cooker meal on.
Yes.
Because you're going to be wore out. And what's the point of canning all day? Then you're going to go eat junk food or takeout, which I don't have that opportunity around where I live. But, prepare your day and start with a clean kitchen. Like, I like to have all my counters cleaned off because there's nothing like counter space when you're canning.
Yep.
But keep your area clean and have a slow cooker meal ready for you when you're done. And when you're pressure canning, you always want to get the can or the carton of ice cream out and set it beside the stove until it's soft. Then that's your treat.
Yep. Mouse Toes, it looks like you have a follower.
I'm just warning her, wear a helmet when you watch my videos. I say what I say.
Yep.
Because seriously, canning is not hard. I mean, literally, it ain't hard. Now, if we try to make it hard and go, I think I could do it differently, we just follow the steps. It's just not rocket science. I'm 100 years old and I can do it. I've been canning since I'm 14. Back when we used
You're
to
not
take
100 years old.
Not 100 years old.
Well, 55 is close. We used to take the jar and have to put it outside on the concrete and you turned it upside down. Okay, because it had literally a rubber ring. Yeah, so
Right.
I've had to make the changes, but just to not be afraid and do something that, like carrots. I am not willing to make myself sick when carrots are still one of the things that are easy to grow and are still available in the store and affordable. So I'm just not going to take the risk, right? Like I wish it was
Right.
safe to can bacon because I've done it before and we both said, yeah, this is just stupid. It's not worth the
Right.
risk, We can live with it. The reality is we can live without. And just make yourself a list. You don't answer that door if UPS is there. The cops can kick the door in. I'm going to yell, I got 10 more minutes of processing time, and I'm going to hold them off, right, until that's done. So just don't get bothered. But do something like she suggested, jam or something like that. Something easy and something that you would be excited about having as opposed to canning some ugly chicken in a jar. It's like not cute. And you're like, I did that. It's hideous. So it'd be more
Right.
instantly a suggestion of ice cream. I always get
Leanne, did I give you a chance? You did answer the question, your tips. So now we're on to Glenda. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I don't forget anybody. My last live or one of my last lives, I kept skipping over Leanne, so I don't want to do that again.
Oh, that was your first one.
Yes.
Well,
ahead,
before
Glenda.
I get started, I am gonna steal this way. Wait, this way. No.
That way.
Anyhow, I can't
That
get
way.
it to go.
never do it.
There.
You gotta go the
There.
opposite direction.
There. I am stealing the cross pot idea. I am stealing it because I am guilty of takeout. So that's a good tip. I am stealing that. So canning night will be crock pot night. For me, I think starting slow. Don't feel overwhelmed. Like you have to be like the ultimate canner and oh my gosh, I got to get it all up on my shelves. Learn slowly, you know what I mean? And as you get into it, make recipes that you like, expand and go, okay, now I'm going to add this or I'm going to add that. And then Sherry, I had a panic attack. I wish my mother was on this because my mother came to my house, but I had a panic attack literally when I got this.
Yeah,
I had a full on. My mother came into town and she sat down with me and she goes, okay, Glenda, we're going to do this. My mom's not a canner. She knows how to use pressure pots. And I had a real fear of pressure pots because I had some horror stories in my family. And so my husband bought me that for Christmas many years ago, and it sat on my shelf. And my mom goes, no, we're going to get this out. And we went and got some local corn. And she's like, we're going to do this together. And she took some corn home with her. And I literally cried no, seriously. Panic attack. I'm not lying. And my sisters were looking at me like I was a nutcase. And because they're like, it's going to be fine. Mom's not going to blow the house up. This pressure canner's fine. Your husband bought the right one. What is wrong with you? And now, that is my favorite canner in the world. I love pressure canning. I get excited when I get to pressure can. It doesn't scare me anymore. I'd rather pressure can than water bath.
Same here.
It's so easy. You stick it in, you walk, you're like, okay, once the venting goes on, and then you put your little weight on, and then you set your timer and you walk away and you're like, okay, and you kind of listen to the jiggle, 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 jiggles, like make sure your stove is right. And then you're like, I have a drink with it. You know what I mean? Glass of wine. I'm like, all right, this is good. And then I'm like, okay, it's done. Turn it off. Okay. And then I'll just walk away. And then like an hour and a half, 2 hours later, and then I come back in. I just make sure the pressure's all the way down. And then I literally just uncrank it. No big deal. I'm still
and you
here,
have that
Sherry.
great memory with your mom and that canner. That's far out.
I do. And she still doesn't can. So
Oh,
she needs to come. She lives in New York and I'm in Indiana. So I've got the pressure canner. So the woman needs to come back down so we can pressure can together, because she taught me to use that thing.
that is so cool. And you could do it with a friend on a live stream if you're scared. She had her mom, there, but you could do it with a friend on live stream if you're scared.
Exactly. We used
Well, I think there's a bunch of it. I think there's quite a few of us that have already committed to Sherry and Bobby's first time being there on video chat forums. So
yes.
Yeah.
Holding your hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I would think the one thing I want to throw out there, and I just thought of it, and I know that there's a gazillion different things I could be throwing out here, but this is really something I'm wishing I had done, and I caught somebody else doing it, and I believe it was Leanne, but I'm not positive. I think it's important, especially as a new canner, and even as we're older canners or ones that have done it a while, start doing a canning journal. You know what you've made, what you liked, you didn't like, okay, that was way too sweet or way too salty or something like that, because you're going to find yourself from year to year when you start repeating the process. Oh, I made that last year, but I can't remember what it tasted like. Or I made that last year and I don't know how we did it. I don't remember. I guess I'll go look through the book again, and then you got to reprocess that whole thing again. So for me, for a new canner, if you think about it, try to do a journal so you can just keep track. You can write down your recipe, and then down underneath it, you can say like, didn't like, or what was wrong with it, or anything like that. So that would be my recommendation right now. So
we kind of did that in our garden, right? What grew well, what row we had it in. So that's a very good idea.
Well, and I think actually that's where I got it, is when Leanne was talking about didn't you do a planner?
My
and
planner
I was sitting
video.
there thinking, she does a planner video, but that's for your garden, correct?
It was for everything in the household, but gardening was part of it. Yes, and how I documented where I bought the seed, how much it was, how much of it did I buy, how much am I actually planting it, and the variety it is, and all that stuff.
Right. And then that's right, because I remember that. And then Cassandra, which is becoming a farm girl, was in your collaboration for What I Wouldn't. I always forget the name of that one. Right. But she said in her video, she has journals, and he welcomes everybody to go to her website and download them, because it just made her life that much easier. And so I'm sitting here and I'm like, what is the thing that would make the most sense to somebody new? We talked a lot of technical stuff and things like that. That's just a common sense approach. And I thought that was a great idea. So I stole it. Sorry.
No, it needs to be said.
Lavender for Luck asked a question, and who's next on my list? I think I'm going to go back to Linda for this one. Can you cut the sugar measurements while canning jams, etc., or would that change the balance?
I would be concerned, and I'm not a big jam maker. It's just not our jam, right? Our jelly thing. I don't even know where you would look that up, but I would go to someone's channel like 2 Lilu Creates and see, because I've seen a lot of videos on it that people weren't happy with the outcome. And y'all have probably made more jams and jellies than I have. But I think it could be something like not putting the lemon juice when you're canning tomatoes, which would not be a good idea.
There are low sugar jams jellies recipes that uses
Oh.
pomona pectin. So I would go that route. And there's the book. Right on
Glenda's
cue.
got a book there. Yep. The other thing I would also throw out there too, and Glenda, go ahead because you got the props, so go ahead.
Yes.
No, the other thing is, I mean, because in my family, we have to be very careful with how much sugar's in our diet as well. Ball makes a low pectin or no pectin preservative pectin, I should say. You can get it Walmart, JC, Kroger, those kind of grocery stores. Just follow your recipe on the container. But this has been something I've been using now. But only use Pomona pectin. Don't buy any other brand. Again, follow this. Like when you buy this, you're buying their brand. And I would follow only their recipe. So this is the one that I go by. And the recipes are really good, but I would not cut the sugar by any means because you really are messing it up. To follow a recipe or go get the pectin, the low pectin or no pectin one
that
from
was-
Because it
Ball.
probably won't set if you do change the amount of sugar in it.
Mm-mm.
Right.
So that was a great question. So it's not just the sugar. If you want to do that, you're going to use a different type pectin, but it's going to
Right.
tell you the amount of sugar to use. Oh, that's
Matter
fantastic.
of
And
of
this
fact,
one
up
uses
at my store,
calcium.
when you go up, sorry, the
This is
Pomona does,
calcium.
correct?
Yeah, this is a calcium water is what this is. It's a little different. And I've been using it for about 2 years now, and I'm really liking this
Excellent.
particular one. So this is helping me because I have to cut sugar. I have no choice in my family. So this is what
I know
we're using.
when I go up to the grocery store where I'm at up here, they have, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but they got regular classic pectin. Then they'll have a low sugar pectin. Then there's also a real fruit pectin. My point is that you can get variations of different pectins to accommodate theoretically what you're looking for, as well as the pomonas. I know that there's also another one that's a Dutch something pectin, and I don't even remember what that's for. But the point being is that there are different pectins out there, so make sure that the pectin you're using is what it's intended to be used for. So
Right.
And if the recipe calls for liquid pectin, make sure you're using liquid
Yeah.
pectin.
Mhm.
So that's a cool thing to think of, not adapting a recipe. Don't go, oh, instead of using 12 cups of sugar, I'm going to do 6.
Right.
Not an option.
Right. Mm-mm.
But there's an
and
alternative
it kind of
like pectin.
Mhm.
right.
Right.
It kind of goes along with the whole thought process of, well, okay, this recipe, here I go back to doing this again, and I apologize, but the recipe says I shouldn't can butter, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. Well, the pectin
Yes.
plays the same way in the sense that it's got to be done the way it's set up. Follow the recipe, follow what it says, and you should theoretically end up with a good product as long as you followed the instructions all the way through and in the guidelines that are set forward. I know it seems overwhelming and a lot of people get buried in the thought process, but to execute it, it's not that hard to do, really. Would
Right.
anybody disagree with me on the panel?
No, that was well
Wow.
worded. Mhm.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to move on down to the question. Oh, go ahead. You got something
And
to
if
say?
you
Bring
want
it
to
on.
can butter, just don't serve it to anyone who comes to your home outside of your family. So if you're going to can butter, keep it on the down low. If you're a YouTube creator, I wouldn't put that video on my channel because you are very liable if someone does it, they get sick or whatever happens. I'd be very leery of that. But I'm never canning butter or dehydrating my own eggs. It's not worth it. So if you do it, just serve it to your family. But when people come over for Thanksgiving, don't whip out your canned butter and serve it to them. You want to take that risk with your family, you go. But don't hurt other people.
My butter's self-stable since I have the cow.
Yes, Leanne.
You have the good stuff.
Reminds me of that thing.
As my dad says, farmers eat the best and sell you the rest.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, I'm going to show this one. Glenda, this is specifically for you. I think she's looking for a list. If you have it, so she can put the links down into the
Okay.
chat.
Okay.
Or if you don't, can you maybe get them ready for tomorrow's conversation, and then we'll have them ready for there.
I can do
Thank
that.
you.
Yep.
So, okay, here comes the hard question. I've been debating whether I wanted to bring it up or not. And Linda, you're Mouse Toast. Sorry, Mouse Toast.
God.
You're experienced. Oh, I can't believe I
Don't
just did
mention
that.
this.
Sorry.
Don't say that it's because of her hair color, because she has experience.
No, I've been
100
trying
years
this whole
old, man.
time. I've been trying this whole time not to put your name out there because I do realize you normally
That's only the
don't
second time you said
advertise
it.
your name.
Mhm.
And it is, but there's more times I wanted to. Trust me.
It's just Mouse. I've always gone by Mouse. Mouse. When I was
Mouse. There we go. Well, then I feel like I'm not saying your whole name if I just say Mouse because your name's Mouse Toast. So,
God, you ain't right in the head, Kettle. I love it. Oh, God.
anyways, here's the question.
Okay.
And I actually would like each of you to answer. Sherry, you may not have a lot of information. If you want to pass on it, that's fine. This question has been touched on by different channels. It's been discussed in different live chats. Okay. Here's the problem I have. Go ahead. I've been timed out.
No, I was
No.
putting up my cross and I was going to get burned to throw me some
I
garlic.
thought you
don't
needed a
think I was
timeout
gonna
already, and I didn't.
No.
I didn't get the question out. And she's like, time out already.
I got the
Put
water.
in my loins. I'm just scared now.
Okay, here's the question.
Okay.
When I started on YouTube, it was always because of the way I handle my channel and the way I handle what I put out on video was always follow safe, tested recipes. Okay, approved recipes was the other word associated to that. In light of that question, Jenny Goff, Scratch Made Kitchen, she came out with a video that gave her definition of that. And I struggled in it, and I'm not calling her out. I'm using it as reference only, okay? I struggled with it because I seen her point, but I also know it doesn't fit what I've known to be the way to do it. So I find myself at a point where what's right and what's not right. And trying to get that direct answer seems to be a hard thing to do. Can you enlighten a little from your perspective?
Well, you scared the snot out of me for nothing. Yes, I can. Every one of the recipes in these books, and Glenda, hold up some of yours. Okay.
Ma'am.
These are not just approved recipes, they're approved recipes because they have been, and this is a big word, frickin' tested. Okay.
Yes.
That's why.
Now hold on just a second, because that specifically is what she said. All recipes, by their own admission, are tested by them, not the USDA. That's
okay,
where I got confused.
When the sugar industry was going, oh, aspartame and stuff will kill you, you have to figure out who's doing the resourcing. What is the incentive for Ball to make any of us sick? In this litigious society, right, where if, let's say I make a video and you can see my clock and I follow everything on their green beans and I get sick, I'm going to be able to sue the pure D snot out of them, their grandma, their great-grandchildren. It may take 25 years, but my grandson will get millions. They have no incentive to put us at any kind of risk. I do not need, okay, I can go over to Sherry's house when she ain't looking and kill one of her damn chickens. I don't have to take a risk, right? I mean, I can get jiggy with it. I can creep around. You don't know if I've never been to jail before and if I'm willing to go back. Wednesday is bologna day and butterscotch pudding. I'm just saying. Okay. So I am not taking a risk on this chicken and this when I can steal one from Sherry.
That's
okay.
a valid point.
So I'm not going to do it. If you want to get jiggy with your can and do it, I'm 100 years old and I ain't fixing to do it. I'm just not fixing to do it.
And I didn't want it to go that way because I'm not really looking at it from a standpoint of should I do what we would consider rebel canning or not. It's more to the point, how do you know which recipes are acceptable? Hear me out on that, okay?
They're in
I
the
know,
frickin' book.
I get that.
Don't
I
just
get
make
that.
your own
But
chili and go, oh, I'm not going to put bell peppers in it. You got my blood pressure up, Kettle. First, you scared me. Made me pull out my cross, trying to get burned to give me garlic. And now you just make me mad.
Hey, Mouse. Now I
Okay.
shouldn't tell you that Sherry's husband's an ex-cop.
Hey, baby, you ain't been frisked till you had a New Orleans cop throw you on the hood of a hot car in August in your Catholic school uniform. That's all I can say. And I said, woo, okay, I'm good. Yeah,
Ooh,
I like
all righty.
I gotta breathe.
Okay.
just 16, just 16.
Okay. So back up a couple steps minus your own personal experience.
You
Okay?
started the whole thing.
I'm not trying to. Hear me out. Okay.
Leah, it's called.
Here is what I'm trying to get to as a content creator on YouTube.
Okay.
I tend to see that's what I should be following. Okay.
Okay.
I don't find the ball book recipes in this book. So trying to teach new canners which books can they use. Here's where this comes down to. Hold on.
Me and
Hold on.
Glenda are
What I'm
coming.
I'm coming to get you.
All these books. Yeah, they're not all ball books,
what?
bro.
I mean, they're not. Like, I have different books here. So I mean, even can I point this out? Like, okay, even are we going to dismiss my canner book because my canner has?
No.
Thank you, Glenda.
Here's
I mean,
what I'm getting to. Hold on. I feel like I'm being massacred, and I'm not even
You
using
deserve
a tool
it. You
to do
started it. We're shredding
Okay.
you. We're taking you
it.
down.
Let me rephrase the question a little differently then. Okay.
Okay.
For new canners, there's this book.
Okay.
Any of the ball books, as long as they're not more than 10 years old, should be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Any extension office book should be fine. Any extension office recipe, whether you go online or you have it in a book, should be fine. You should also be able to go to Surgel, MCP, Ball. Help me with any others I might be miscerto.
Pomona.
What's the new one? Pomona.
Pomona.
Any of those would be legitimate places to get recipes as well.
On
Can
the
you help me with
containers?
something?
Yes. Share, Glenda.
Yes.
On the containers of the like Mrs. Wages, if you buy the Mrs. Wages.
Yes. Tested
Right.
recipes.
Yep. It's a tested recipe. So I think that specifically is where my question is really coming down to. When we say tested recipe, we're saying theoretically it's been tested to fit, I'm assuming, majority of the time, these guidelines, and therefore
It's
should be a tested.
It's science.
No, and I get that. Please,
right now,
please
because you're getting my
understand that. I
blood
get
pressure has
that.
to come down. Okay, I'm calling in Leanne for the clutch. Okay, Leanne would never take her grandma's chili recipe that did not have no damn bell peppers in it and go, oh, I'm going to can this, okay, with some meat in it for 90 minutes in a quart jar. Because Leanne understands the science. There's a reason there's freaking bell peppers in it, okay? So you can't just take your own mama's, papa's, peepees, freaking spaghetti recipe and go, I'm going to can it. There's a balance, okay? So it's not all about ball. You saw we got different resources, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now my blood pressure's, I'm elderly. Are you trying to kill me? Okay.
No,
This is
I'm
a
not,
whole bad
really.
scene. It's not worth it. What do you need to can so bad, Kettle, that it's some kind of jiggy ass recipe that you want to get funk with it? Seriously.
Nothing.
Why can, if you want to make something with chicken and pork, why the hell, okay, don't you just take one of your damn porks and your chickens and pour them in a pot together? You don't have to do all that crazy stuff. You can, it's ingredient canning. Here, I'm gonna put some chicken in it, put a little pork in it. Oh hell, I'm gonna throw some damn green beans in it. Okay.
Forgot the taters.
I hope the hell we never have and taters. We never
Or
have this damn
pasta.
conversation again.
or pasta. You don't
I
can
feel like I was on a
pasta.
roller coaster.
I'm with you.
Okay, see, these are my people. A soil sister, a cannon sister, and a damn Mennonite. You're outnumbered. You're so screwed. Yeah. All right, I'm good. You shouldn't invite me here. What were you thinking? Again,
Your honesty. That's why I invited you. So I appreciate that.
you know how weird I am now? Imagine a little brain damage with a little botulism. What would be going on here?
No,
Have
I'm
you thought
I'm good.
about that,
I'm good.
Kettle? Okay, maybe you hadn't
No.
given that enough thought, but I'm not taking the risk, nor is he likes me with, coherent. Do we all just get
So-
along? Apparently not, Belt Loop 29. I hold you responsible. He's your friend. I said, well, Leanne plays with him. I'll play with him. What the hell?
So what
Good judge here.
is the
Pearls.
I know how I want to ask this. What is probably the biggest mistake you've seen a new canner do that you don't want a new canner to do? How about that?
Stick their frickin' fingers in their jar with their water bath can after they sterilize the jar. And ones who go, hey, maybe I can adapt this recipe in a different way. I don't like lemon juice and I don't like green beans. That's what I've seen new canners do wrong.
Okay, Leanne?
She brings up a valid point. Like in Facebook groups, there's always a question: do I have to put the lemon juice in? Does it actually taste like lemon juice? Like in pizza sauce, you do not taste the lemon juice in pizza sauce, or even apple butter. You do not taste the vinegar in apple butter. Like seriously,
Yep.
just don't question the process. It'll be all right.
Okay.
Don't fight the man. Don't fight the man.
Okay.
And
Glenda?
I'm just gonna say, man, I'm missing out on some drama. Facebook groups and some things. I'm like missing the drama because, like, okay. Well, anyhow, so I started canning, and there was no YouTube for Glenda, and there was no Facebook groups, and I needed Mouse back in the day, okay? Because she can come to my house anytime because I need some of that spirit in my house. But I don't know. I mean, this is not my original book. I still kept my original ball book. I still have it. It is older now, so I don't use it anymore. But I kept it as a relic because to me that meant something to me. That was my first one. But I think just follow the book. I mean, I think the biggest thing is fear that you're going to screw up. And honestly, if you're just following the book, you're gonna be okay. Honestly, and sterilize everything. I know that Mouse. I know that this is bad, but even I sterilize my tools. I throw this all in when I'm sterilizing my jars. I throw everything in and sterilize for 5 minutes. I'm that sterilized.
I love it.
I just don't
love
play games. And even though it goes through my dishwasher, I sterilize again. Just because I want that extra security blanket. I have canners. So that's not a problem for me to re-sterilize. It just gives me peace of mind knowing that I've done it right. But really, at the end of the day, just taking a breath and not being so scared and so overwhelmed. I think that's for me as a new canner. I wasn't anything with groups or anything because I don't know anybody. Sherry, you're my first one. What are you afraid of, honey, that I can like calm you down on? Because I'm not in any groups. So what's going on with you? What are your concerns with canning? That's what I want to know.
I have tons of concerns, but because I wasn't so clear that I needed to stick with
Okay.
and what my biggest thing is, I see people can all the time on different channels. I'm not gonna name them, but tons of channels that I watch, I see people can, and it's just like, oh, you just cook this, and this, and then you throw it in the canner, and that's it. Well, it looks super easy, but like, what did I miss? Or I'm still scared. So now having this conversation, I'm not as nervous because I know that long as I stick with the book to a T, I'll be okay.
Yes.
So, that has helped a lot.
And don't be afraid to actually have a checklist as
Yes.
you're setting up your canner, getting your props out, preparing your preps, and then cleaning your jars. Just write it all down and then just check it off. And as the great and powerful Daz says, everything's going to be all right. Actually, he didn't say it that way, but Daz brought up a good point.
Yes. Yes.
Yep.
And it's okay to ask questions down the road too, Sherry, if you need any of us too. I mean, we are always here.
Yeah, I see so much, over on my channel. People say I want to learn how to can, but I'm afraid. And I tell them, don't be afraid to say you're afraid, because it's so many people that can help you in the right way, but then it's so many people that can lead you the wrong way just by cutting this corner. So that's why I thought it was important, because we grow tons of vegetables and fruit, and we raise our own meat. So to get outside of freezing, dehydrating, all these other ways of prepping, freeze drying, we need the can, because what else? So why keep saying, and I've been saying, I'm afraid of canning. I'm afraid of the pressure canning. And then I was afraid of what I could do to myself and my family. So definitely hearing y'all today, and I know for weeks to come, hearing the same conversations over and over, is like teaching a kid ABCs. We gonna get it, And I appreciate the fact that y'all stick so heavily to the book. But it's definitely, I think once we beat this in people's head, do not cut corners. Read that book, ask questions, but be careful who you ask. You don't want to ask everybody.
No.
Can we please put up a flag behind Sherry that yells, "She is our canon people"? Did you hear that woman just preach?
Yes.
Just preached it.
Yes,
What
she did. Yes.
Holy cow.
I want to just high five her. Like, I want to go just like,
yeah, look, woo, yes.
Soil
This is
sister.
who we are, people.
Yeah, so now we know what we need at the Soil Family Expo next year.
Yes.
That's it.
That was so well said. Don't cut corners. It ain't hard. It's just cannon. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
Hi, Kettle.
Hi.
And the other thing is that this is not just a female thing to do for canning too. Guys can can too, because look, wait, I'm getting this backwards here. Look who else is a canner. Guys can can too.
I hate doing that.
Yeah. My husband, he'll can. He will be firsthand in that kitchen with me, so he'll definitely be canning too.
Yes.
Good.
I think one of the things I like is Bobby and Sherry have a thought process, and Sherry, maybe you can say it, but Bobby said it the other day, and I really feel that that's the way we should be. Let's not talk about what separates or divides us. It's not about race. It's not about gender. It's not about this. It's not about that. I don't remember what it was, but the honesty in what he said was, that's where we're at. We're all in the same boat trying to get through this together.
Yes.
Let's just do it together instead of trying to separate each other. So I loved what he said.
One community, we can do so much, if we come together. So yeah, we keep politics and religion and all of that off of our channel. I'm not saying that we don't do what we do, but we pray for everyone. However, we just don't bring it to Black Tropical, because those are the things that separate us.
Yes.
And then everybody at each other, and that's making the world work. So, we push that negative out and bring in, flush it out with positive. And
right.
So, Canada is our next move. And we definitely want to spread the word to the entire community, because we are just one community.
That's right.
Right.
And they're after all of us. We're all in danger of a lack of a food supply together.
Yeah,
That is real.
Yep.
we are. We are.
I think there is importance for us to be very cautious, or mindful is the better word, of what Mouse just said. It's that we have the ability to do what we need to do. We need to do it. We have the ability to get ourselves prepped and ready for it without going wild about it. You can still do those things on a day-to-day basis, especially if you're able to grow the product you're canning. So I think it's important.
And can I add something else too? Is now is the time to be buying all of your canning supplies, not just your jars, but go ahead and get your lids now and have a nice little stockpile, because you will see that stuff coming off the shelves. You'll think, oh, I'll be okay, and it will be there when I need it. Go ahead and stock up now and have yourself a little stash for this canning season, so you have what you need. I mean, I have packages like right here. This is for tomatillos, specifically this size. I mean, I know what I'm using these for, but I have to replace. I look at my bands every year, and I'm getting ready to replace all my bands because my bands rust. So this is what I have, but make sure you're stocking up now. Don't wait till the last minute and think, okay, my garden's ready, it's time to can. Get what you need now.
Right.
And on that note, Harvest Guard posted today that they have a 33% off sale for about a week or so. So those might be a good investment.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I've switched to 4-jar lids. My favorites were Orchard Road, and they quit making them. Well, 4 jars bought the recipe, and you can still boil these. Go get them hot. And I have not had one failure, just like I never did with Orchard Road.
I'm sorry, what was that again?
Is that a radio?
Yeah, I hear a radio.
Okay.
Uh-oh. There we go. Sorry, say it again.
Orchard Road lids have been my favorites, for like 4 years. And they
Okay.
quit making them. Well, now it's 4-jar lids. Let's see if I have one. They're over here. Oh, let me get my latest green bean. They're called FORJARS.
Okay.
And they have the recipe that was Orchard Road lids. You will see the difference between the ball or the PUR, any of those, but it's 4 jars, and it's 4jars.com. And you can buy sleeves of them, without bands, whatever. They don't have jars or anything, but their lids have not failed me, just like Orchard Road didn't. But the new ball lids over the last 18 months, I've had a failure out of every 10 jars I canned. And that made me so mad.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Well,
4 jars is sort of a good thing.
I'm going to look into them because I haven't heard them before.
Milestones, do you have an affiliate link?
Lisa had one on Sutton Stays, but I think it's just 4jars.com because that's where I ordered mine.
I just want to help a YouTuber out.
Yes,
I got an affiliate link this morning, guys. So
I don't have
very happy with that.
Sorry. Yeah, it's just 4jars.com. Sorry, no, I don't.
Yeah, it's a good company. I like their story. I like what I've seen, and I'm here to tell you the product is better than what I was getting before. So
yes,
I like it.
Yeah, and of course, never reuse a lid more than once. So.
No. How about we go down that road? Can you give 2 or 3 quick tips of what not to do? And we'll start with Linda or Mouse. Go ahead.
God, I'm always the victim. Okay. Never. He's coming for me, people. Never use your lids more than once. When I need to fill up a full canner, and Leanne touched on that as your garden's coming in, I didn't have a full canner today for green beans and pints. So I just use an old lid that I normally use for dehydrating to fill up my canner with water. But never reuse a lid Okay, a standard metal lid. Don't use knives, metal utensils, forks, spoons in your jars. And there is no such thing as oven canning. Okay?
No.
Right.
Dry canning, there's no such thing. Never put your jar in the oven. And all the jar makers will tell you, whether it's Barl, Orchard Road, Kerr, they are not designed for that in the heat of an oven. They're not. Do not ever do it. People are going to have heart attacks when they hear this, but don't do it. I'm done. That's
And
my
I'm glad you brought that up, because it was one of the things before we ended I wanted to throw out there that I had found. I've heard that before, not to do it, but I actually went and researched it last night. 4 of the 5 places I went to specifically said our product is not designed to be put in an oven. So don't
Amen.
do it, or you're taking your own risk into your own hands.
Yes.
So,
and if that jar shatters,
Now
it'll cut you like a scalpel.
right. So there's that. Sorry. Sherry, I'm not trying to exclude you, but I don't know how much information you do have or don't have. So is there anything maybe you've learned so far not to do? You're muted.
I would not listen to the people who say you can just do this or you don't have to do that. Definitely go by somebody who gonna tell you what and show you what the book say. I think it's simple. I mean, that this part alone made me way more comfortable to know that if I call Leanne, she gonna tell me how to can something, but she gonna tell me what the book says, not what she do or how she cut corners. So definitely reach out to somebody who gonna teach you from the book.
Leanne?
Before that, can we just chant Sherry, Sherry, Sherry?
Sherry, Sherry, Sherry. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
I love this woman.
Leanne, before you do that, Daz did put up another question I just seen. I'm going through the questions. So people new and not having much money left, what is the first book they should buy? My personal recommendation is the USDA's Complete Guide to Home Candy.
But what if you're out of the country?
Then I will leave it up to the other 4 to answer that, maybe.
Download it. It's a free download.
Yeah, it is. Glenda?
So I would use the websites, honestly. The freshpreserving.com, the USDA, if you didn't have the money. But if you were wanting a book, I would get a Ball book. I mean, that's what I would do, and make sure that it's a current one. That would be my recommendation. That's exactly what I did. But you get a book and then use the website. That's what I did, because I was broke. So that was what I did.
And we haven't even mentioned Bernardin.
But so Bernardin is okay. So real quick, I'm going to run through this as much as I can. For people that may not know it, Ball, Kerr, Bernardin, what was the other one? Some Golden Harvest. Am I correct in that name? I think it's Golden Harvest.
Golden Harvest.
Mm-hmm.
They're all owned by the same company, which is Newell's. Newell's now owns all of those companies. So that is why when you're looking up Kerr recipes or Ball recipes, you're now routed to the Fresh Preserving website, because they're owned by the same company. Bernardin is what Ball was, but up in Canada. Just for people that may not know that.
And then Daz had a question.
My understanding,
Jarvis.
though, as long as it fits within our guidelines, we're okay to use. Go ahead. Sorry.
He said Daz had a question. Can for jars, lids, or can for jars lids be used with ball rings? Being overseas, they can only use the lids, no rings available here. And I use the ball lid jar rings all the time with different brand lids, no problem.
I just know in Australia from another Australian that they have all different kinds of jars.
Ah,
So just to keep that in perspective. But I'm sure Daz has ball jars and rings from his question there.
Tanya Shepherd, butter would be one.
Oh, yeah. There's her question there. Is there anything you shouldn't can besides bananas?
Things you don't eat.
Oil, flour, milk, butter,
Yep.
pumpkin puree, your husband.
Yeah.
I don't, you know what? I also don't can in half-gallon jars.
Oh, yeah.
No.
I don't even think you can fit the jar in the canner.
No,
You could
but
have
I
the double one.
now they make great storage containers for your flour and your sugar, so they have a place and a purpose for them. But I would not can in the
Rice.
half-gallon. Rice.
Good one.
To my knowledge, there's only one use that's approved for half-gallon jars. So
Apple
Wow.
juice.
it's juice. That's all it's approved for. Yep.
Really? Okay. Well,
Yep. But it's not approved
I'm
for
not-
anything else we've talked about all night. So, and I'm not
Okay.
doing it either. But I'm throwing it out there.
I can juice and I use the quart size. I always get my sizes mixed up. I use the quart.
Okay.
Chine moss.
What are your opinions?
Can you use pickle jars in canning? No, you cannot.
That is correct.
Do y'all do marathon
What
things?
are your
I'm sitting
opinions
here
on
going,
the-
why am I so tired? It's 9:20. We've been doing this
Not that
2
bad.
hours.
Yeah. So the other thing with your
Yeah,
jars,
we're about to close it up.
when you get ready to can, run your
No, go ahead.
finger around your jar to make sure there's no cracks or chips or anything. You never want to use a jar that's chipped or cracked because that's going to get right into your food. It's also not going to get a proper seal. But don't get rid of your jars. Guess what you can use these jars for? Because guess what I'm using it for? There you go. That's what you can use it for. So don't get rid of them. Find another purpose.
Yep. Real quick, what are your opinions on Tattler lids?
I think we're all afraid to speak at
Glenda.
the same time.
Leanne. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go. I've only bought the sample pack, and I was canning raw packed pork with it, and I don't know if it was just me being new to it, but I had more siphoning. But I haven't opened it to see if it tasted any different because one of my friends actually said she swears that her food tastes like plastic, but she's the only one I've ever heard that says that. So I guess we'll wait and see. Other than that, I would love the idea of not having to throw a single lid away every time I open a jar because I'm opening 2 or 3 a day easily in my house. You know, that adds up. And I'm trying to save the environment as I'm canning because I think it's eco-friendly because we're using the same jar over and over again instead of going to the store and getting that tin can every time.
Mm-hmm.
And you eventually have to replace that little rubber part. And as a person who attends Kingdom Hall, if I don't have anything nice to say, I shouldn't say anything at all about Tattler lids.
Okay.
Right,
Glenda?
centerpiece. That's what I got.
Okay.
There you go.
Fair enough. and Sherry, you haven't used them, so the question wouldn't
Never heard
apply
of
to you.
Erase them from your mind.
Well, okay, so we've been here I mean, literally almost 2 hours. So, Lavender for Lex said I've heard people say that you can use the lids again in reference to the Tattler lids. Yes, those are reusable. The washers, washers, I think is what they call them. Sorry. Those have to be replaced eventually at some point, which is
After
just
10
like Mal
uses.
said.
Mm-hmm.
10 uses. Thank you.
But metal lids, you never want to
Okay,
use
so
twice.
no. So we've been here 2 hours. I'll just call it 2 hours. I want to thank all of you for being here. I appreciate it. Tomorrow over on Sherry's channel, we're doing another conversation. Do you want to talk about that for a second, Sherry?
So tomorrow at Black's Tropical, what is it? 2 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm
Yeah.
not sure what time it is for you, Tony.
On the
Or
West
Glenda.
Coast.
Yeah.
11.
But
It's 11 for
11.
me.
Okay. So we'll be doing another deep dive into canning, preserving the correct and safe way. So that's what we are all about, doing it the right way the first time or learning it the right way the first time. So if you'd like to learn more, meet us at Black Tropical Homestead.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty. Anybody else have something to say real quick? Oh.
I have something. Tomorrow is June
Yes.
1st. And what does that mean? It is Jam It Up June.
Yes.
And we have a premiere tomorrow.
Yep. Yes, we do at 8:30 my time. It's going to be 11:30 Eastern time.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have another one coming out a half hour later. And remember, it's 30 days of jam, jelly, or preserves. So go ahead and watch all those videos. If you guys like the channel you go to, please think about subscribing to it. Like, share, make sure you comment on each video so you have a chance for the giveaway at the end of the month, which will be on the 30th. And that'll be here on Kettle Kitchen. And lots of prizes, lots of good prizes, lots of good channels.
So for Jam It Up June?
I think it's
yes, hashtag Jam It Up June.
Okay.
I'm
There'll be
looking
a
forward
playlist.
to it.
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
excited.
All right. Well, I want to thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. I really, really appreciate it. You guys took a long amount of time out of your schedule. I think there was a lot of good information discussed, and I think Sherry, and you can answer if I'm incorrect. I think you got a lot of good information out of it too.
Yes.
And hopefully the people in chat did as well. So
yeah.
Thanks, ladies. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate all of you all for your help and expertise.
Yep.
You're welcome.
Anytime. All right. We'll see you guys later. Have a good night.
Bye.
Good night, Soil.